Day 178 of the Ukrainian war map, also known as the Russo-Ukrainian War. Chelsea here, and today is another update as I take a more simplified and down-to-earth approach of the happenings on the ground there in Ukraine. Now, as always, I like to start off with some of the Russian military losses. Again, just an estimate as we take a peek at the wearing thin of the Russian forces there. So military personnel lost, currently sitting on about 44,700 there. And most interestingly, I like to have a look at the military hardware figure losses. So armored combat vehicles sitting on a whopping 16 new losses for the Russians there, and an additional 10 tanks. Again, I'm starting to say this quite a bit, but even just a few of each is a big deal. But now we're seeing it just in droves every day, more and more tank and combat vehicle losses. Handful of artillery there as well. Okay, so what we'll do is move down across the map and have a bit of a peek here. So we'll start off in Kharkiv, where we might usually do so, where there's been ongoing shelling here in Kharkiv. Look at this photo here. Now, designed to achieve some sense of normalcy. So it's reinforced concrete bus stop bomb shelters that are being installed in Kharkiv that hold up to 50 people per site, per air raid. And currently 25 are being installed. So that's pretty neat and helpful there, I'd have to say. Now, just a note with the ongoing Kharkiv shelling though, intelligence suggests that Russia is trying to force Ukraine to maintain significant forces of their own in the Kharkiv Oblast region to prevent them from being deployed as a counter-attack force elsewhere in Ukraine. So like Zaporizhia, the Donbass, Kherson, and even Crimea. So basically, Russia are said to be false flag firing from a distance into the Kharkiv Oblast, flinging artillery shells from afar in the hope that they don't have to deal with additional Ukrainian forces on the southern counter-offensive front lines. Which in turn means Russian forces are concerned that they're ill-equipped to handle multiple theatres of war. Also known as they just don't have the people and the stuff to support it. Now we'll move across down to the Donbass region here. So fighting continues near the 4 villages or so in the Luhansk Oblast. So Ukraine actually still does hold some of the Luhansk Oblast there. So yeah, you wouldn't think so. It's usually, for the some part, hiding behind the Donetsk Oblast. But Russian forces continue trying to advance and capture the small part of the region still controlled by Ukraine up there. But their latest attempts have failed again. Where we move across to nearby Kramatorsk, and in this direction Russian artillery shelled towns and villages around there, where Russian strikes hit a local design college as well. Not really a military target, but yeah, they just seem to do these things. Now we'll move across to Bakhmut, where of course it's always a bit of a hotly contested zone, where the Ukrainian army forces forced Russian troops to retreat in several directions back into their own inland directions along here. So you can see the arrows, meaning that Russia is attempting to push out at this location. They're actually just pulled back into their own location in the last 24-hour reporting period. Now we'll move across to the Zaporizhia Oblast here, but in particular Militopol, so the city of Militopol. Got a bit of a video here where explosions were reported in Russian-occupied Militopol. The explosions were heard during the night in the city, allegedly at a Russian military base near the airport. Then we move across to Nikopol, and here's a photo here. More Russian shelling of Nikopol, where the Russian forces are still effectively using the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant right across the river, right there, as a sort of a shield so that they can fling their shells wherever they want. I've reported on this a few times now, but it just keeps happening. So I'm just quickly reporting again. It seems, although Russia seized control of the nuclear power plant way back in March. It's only more recently that they have discovered the use of the plant as their own sort of cover or shield there, as I call it. Now we move down to a lot of the interesting things happening in Crimea. I might actually just start off with showing a bit of footage here, as there's quite a bit to cover. So Russia is reportedly activating its air defenses at all important military locations in Crimea. And I'll just say as a quick side note, please stay till the end of the video. There's a funny that relates to this. Now, here's the thing. Russia has always said to have had the best air defenses in the world, arguably better than the US, through the use of their Russian S-300, S-400, and S-500 air defense missile systems. And yet, in the Russian-held territory of Crimea here, we see explosions every single week now, in some instances daily, just every day. But most recently today, we have footage of Ukraine hitting the Russian Black Sea Fleet HQ, so the headquarters in Sevastopol, with a suicide drone. I wish you could hear the video or the original audio on the video, where you can hear Russian infantry kind of a bit shouting on the ground and attempting to shoot the drone with what appears to be their assault rifles. Appears to sound like. So, with all the military installation attacks in Crimea in the last couple of weeks now, Russian air defenses again appear to be missing in action still. Now you might be wondering what kind of suicide drone has this far distance range capability, because we are talking about 200 plus kilometers or 140 plus miles here. So I've looked into that, and it appears there Ukrainian is using a variant of an existing drone called the PD-2, which has a range of about 220 plus kilometers, which is about 140 plus miles, and carries a 3-kilogram warhead, or about a 6-pound warhead there. And this is actually a newer variant, apparently, of the PD-2 that shows on the screen there. And you may remember a similar kamikaze drone, which was deployed and used in an attack on the 22nd of July, so just a couple of months ago now, to an attack on an oil refinery in the Rostov Oblast, inside Russia, so actually inside Russian territory, not Russian-held territory in Ukraine, but the actual Russian Federation, causing extensive damage. Now we'll lastly move across to a bit of the news here. So the US has confirmed the newest $775 million USD aid package to Ukraine, but also vowed to defend Ukraine as long as it takes. The package includes TOW ATGMs, artillery, HARMs, mine-clearing equipment, and more HIMARS ammunition. And fairly new in that list is the HARMs, so the anti-radiation missiles. I like to prefer to call them the anti-radar missiles, which can be attached to any Ukrainian fighter jet now, really, or some of their Sukhois, and just allows to attack radar, so Russian radar. So Russia is, let's just say, flying blind. They can't see as much. In some more news, Germany plans to send 255 volcano projectiles to Ukraine. Now, 155mm volcano projectiles are capable of hitting targets at a distance of up to 70 kilometers, or about 45 miles. The German government also said it would supply to Ukraine 5,000 man-portable anti-tank weapons, 100,000 first aid kits, 200 trucks, a Cobra counter-battery radar system, and 20 rocket launchers on pickup trucks with 2,000 rockets at their disposal. So quite a bit there. So good on you, Germany, which has sent a fair bit of stuff, but they've always been, it's been argued that they can send more, and it's good to see they're keeping up there. And let's see, more news. So this is a bit of an interesting one. It's hard to always get the full confirmation, but around 700 Russian soldiers fighting in Ukraine were refused a release from service. According to the Russian investigative media iStories outlet, soldiers from the 64th Motorized Rifle Brigade and some of those whose contracts had ended in May time this year, requested to leave Ukraine but were denied, which is just another example of the Russian forces getting tired and worn out. And the last bit of news, intelligence reports say that half of the Russian Black Sea Fleet's combat air power was knocked out in the Saki airbase attack, the one from just a few short days ago. And there's certainly no shortage of pictures showing decimated Russian military planes, and funny ones there too. Speaking of funny, I'm going to put a bit of a real funny today, and a different one to round off the day with. And so I was a bit slow to believe this one. It's so hard to believe, but here is the initial meme of a fake blown up Russian S-400 air defense system. And here is another video of it in the background where a Russian commander is talking to the Russian media, as you'll see there. And you'll see in the background it's defying the laws of physics as far as high-end metals go. But all I can say is metal shouldn't bend that way in the wind. Shouldn't really bend in the wind at all. Gee. Russia appears to have pretend air defenses so that Ukraine won't even try. But technically that could be cheap and effective. Don't think it is though. Alright guys, so thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, subscribe, hit that like button, show all those trolls who's who. Try to ignore the propaganda comments where you can. It's pretty tempting, I know, believe me. But thanks again, and I do hope to see all of you guys there in the next one. Cheers.